Hi, I'm Laurie Radke, President and CEO of the Greater Green Bay Chamber. On this episode of Community Conversations, I'm welcoming Steve Van Remortel. Steve is an author, a speaker, a chief strategist, and talent advisor. Steve and I will have the opportunity to talk about why Greater Green Bay is such a great place to work, live, and raise a family. We will also have insight to what it was like for Steve to start his own business. You'll find a portion of this conversation printed in the next issue of our Collective Impact. That'll be hitting your mailbox and the newsstand in May. Until then, enjoy my conversation with Steve. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As I mentioned earlier, I'm really happy to be sitting here with Steve Van Remortel. Steve and I have known each other for more than 10 years, and Steve is actually an entrepreneur, a business owner, and as I mentioned, a coach and a talent advisor. So today is really a great day to take some time to talk with you and learn a little bit more about who is Steve Van Remortel. Wow. So thank you for being here, Steve.
Great to be here.
One thing that I wanted to ask you is, Green Bay. Why is Green Bay such a great place for you and your family to live here and for you to start your own company here?
I have a little bit of an interesting perspective on that. The one thing I love about Green Bay, obviously, these are my roots, so I've lived all over the place and came back. But this is a small town, but it has big city amenities. So we get to do a lot of really cool stuff, concerts and other events, but we don't have the traffic that goes with it and a lot of the big city issues. So big town amenities, big city amenities with a small town traffic. So that, because I sat in traffic for a lot of hours of my life, and I just view that as a waste, right? A waste of good time.
Definitely a waste of time, because I know how you like to get things done.
Yeah,
so.
Efficiency is a motivator.
It is. So you obviously love Green Bay. If you could pick one or two things, what would you change to make Green Bay even a better place to live and have your business here?
Yeah. Well, and I'm assuming you get this when you talk to people, but the lens that, my lens, right? I work with a lot of businesses in the area, and I'm also very active. So one of the things that I would love to make Green Bay better is there's really, and this is kind of like from my own lens again, right? But there's no bike paths on the west side of town, right? East side of town has the Fox River, and then you got to go out to the reforestation. So when I want to bike on the west side of Green Bay, I got to put the bike on the back of the car and go to somewhere. So that's kind of a little nip. But I also think that we have an opportunity to have a lot more events and concerts here with the venues that we have in town, especially using Lambeau more if they're willing to do that, because I think that is an incredible venue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that we can work on with that bike pass. So
yeah.
we'll get on that right away.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. I know there's a lot of discussion about COVID, and we're all excited to see the light at the end of the tunnel and as we're moving forward and things are opening up. But from your lens and the talent lens and really working with companies, what has changed and what is the challenge now that we're facing as you talk with employers and even working with their different teams within that company?
Yeah. What COVID did was it really provided everybody an unexpected different view of their career, right? They were working from home, or they didn't have to go in, or their whole routine was upset, right? So now they look at their job differently, and so that changed a lot of things. So I'm sure you've heard of the Great Resignation, where a lot of people are saying, "Hey, I had enough of the grind. I want to do this. I want to do something I love to do." And so retention has been a primary driver of a lot of companies. We got to keep the people we have and really help them enjoy their role and stuff. And so that's been one thing. The other thing too is that the number one issue companies face that limits their growth, especially small to medium-sized businesses, is the talent component. And really being more proactive with that. The old way is being reactive. Somebody quits, we start a search, right? Somebody's underperforming, we put a PIP plan in place. What about if we worked upstream to solve those issues sooner so that we solve them before they impacted our business? So talent is, with the data that we have, talent's not going to get easier. It's going to get worse. It's going to get harder. And the companies that are proactive about it are the ones that are going to win in that regard.
Absolutely, and certainly you and I have had a lot of conversations around talent, and I've appreciated your guidance and support as the Chamber continues to grow and develop. And I'd like to talk a little bit about, one, your company, and then how that evolved and how you have 2 books out.
Yeah.
And can we talk a little bit about that, because it's all focused on talent, and really that's the number one issue that we're hearing from our members. So could you talk a little bit about starting your own company and then the 2 books?
Yeah. So in January of 2020, I went to a talent conference like I do every year, and it's a time when I get away and I look back at how the year went, and I start thinking about, okay, how can we better serve our clients based on what's going on? And so I noticed these three trends that are coming in the talent and technology, the convergence of talent and technology. And so basically those three trends are this. Number one is people issues are going to remain the number one issue for all SMBs, we call them, small to medium-sized businesses, and larger, but our focus is on that. The second is that the technology disruption is going to happen in our industry. It is happening in the talent industry. More and more companies are going to be using technology to plan for and manage their people. That's obviously happening on the tactical side now with employee data, employee information, but this is really about the development and the strategic side of HR. And then the third trend is that when a large CEO or leadership team member logs in, they log in and their CRM is there, their finance is there, all their systems are communicating and together. SMBs don't have that yet. And so within 1 to 3 years, there's going to be companies like Intuit QuickBooks, who just bought MailChimp. They're going to be providing this software package to small and medium-sized businesses. So what we've been talking to them about is, how do you prepare for these trends that are coming? They are coming, and the companies in front of them are going to be able to take advantage of them versus being a victim of those trends. And so that was a big thing for us. So yeah, you mentioned the books. Stop Selling Vanilla Ice Cream is strategy and talent in your business. And Stop the Vanilla in Your Career and Life is strategy and talent in your life. And I just actually today finished writing my third book.
You did?
Which I never thought I would do. And it's on talent planning. It is on how to solve your people issues to accelerate growth. We believe the future of talent is talent planning. We put all these plans in place for our life, right? We have a vacation plan and a workout plan and a plan for our day, a retirement plan. We got a sales plan, but we don't plan for the number one thing that's impacting our business right now. That just didn't make sense to us when we saw that, right? So we believe that talent planning is how companies are going to be able to proactively solve their people issues and accelerate the growth of their people and accelerate the growth of their company.
I think one thing that I've appreciated working with you over the years is that when we talk about talent planning and talent development, we also take into consideration not only what the company needs, but really the passion of that individual. And sometimes it's the right person for the right culture, but maybe just a different position. And so can you talk a little bit about what tool you have that narrows down that to make sure it's a good match for both the company and the individual, because it's passion in their heart too that makes them an exceptional employee?
Yeah, it's a very easy intersection. It's the intersection of my natural wiring, which we use behavioral science to measure that, right? All that's developed early in your life. So what are the strengths of your natural wiring? And the intersection of that with the things that you love to do in life, right? So for me, it's the ability to be in front of the room, but strategy's a passion of mine, right? Or talent's a passion of mine. And I was coaching a person this morning that their passion is in product management, and they're in the food industry, right? So now we're putting a career plan together for that person. So that is on my heart, that every person that is a sophomore in high school or there shortly thereafter can and does have the information to put a career plan in place for themselves. And to me, that's an easy win for the whole community. And I'm a big advocate for that.
A win for the community, a win for the students, right? So they have a pathway and a direction. There's so many opportunities right now and so many different jobs. So it gives them clarity as they move forward.
Good for the parents too.
Good for the parents. Absolutely, absolutely. We talked about your books and number 3, which I didn't know about. So congratulations on that. Your business, through all of this, you've had some health challenges too, right?
Yes,
so life doesn't just stop, so you can move your business forward or provide resources back to the community. Do you want to share a little bit about what that challenge was and how that impacted you and your view of the role that you're playing with talent?
Yeah. So it was August of 2020, and I found a lump in my groin, and 3 months, I was in a tailspin for 3 months trying to figure out what it was, and they didn't really know around here because it was so rare. And so I was diagnosed with myxofibrosarcoma, which is cancer of the soft tissue in your body. And so I went to several different areas and couldn't find someone that was a specialty in it. So I found the MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. So we lived in Houston, Texas for 2 months, and the interesting thing about COVID is that no one knew I was out of town, right? So I do all these Zoom meetings, and it was just the background of being in a room, right?
Sure.
So I was gone for almost 3 months, and no one really knew because I wasn't missing anything because there was nothing going on.
Right.
So what did that do for me? COVID was not that big a deal for me because I had that going on, right?
Sure.
So, but what it didn't change who I am from a standpoint because I'm very focused on what my calling is and the lives I want to impact. But what it did for me was really, Steve, when you're in the moment, like when you're on a golf course with your friends, be there, right? Be here right now. It's because my mind is always, what am I going to do next? And what's on my plate? And what am I going to get done next? And what really taught me was enjoy the moments. And so that's what I do. So this weekend I'm going to be with my twin daughters, and I'm going to enjoy that moment, right? I'm not going to think about work. And so, and that's not easy for my style.
Right.
Right?
That is true. So I know, Steve.
That was a huge takeaway. The second thing that I really learned through the health challenge was the importance of being an advocate for yourself. When something happens to you, and I've talked to several people now that have been diagnosed with some, have serious health challenges, is do not settle until you have the right medical team with the right plan. Because a lot of people are told this is what we're going to do, and then they sit in that and they don't feel good about it, but they still go through with it. Once I found the right medical team with the right plan, I was 100% like, this is going to be fine. And when you say that to people, they're like, yeah, that makes sense, but you got to advocate for yourself. And you got to ask the hard questions, and you got to be clear that this is the right person to take care of me, and this is the right plan to help me out. And going to Houston for us was the right plan, and it all worked out.
And again, planning, right? We talk about how planning's important. You tell me plan, not only in your business, but in your personal life too. And obviously that fared you well for the challenge that you went through. So when we talk about talent, that really is the lens that I come to you for advice and really your expertise. If you had just a couple thoughts to share with the community around talent, what would that be?
I have a huge passion for creating shepherds of the talent. You know that. So a shepherd nurtures, cares for, invests in, develops the people in their life, both at work and at home, right? It's not a duty that's just work-based. We all have people at home we're responsible for as well. And so my passion, and we had training this past week, actually yesterday, where we train leaders on how to use behavioral science to develop and invest in others. And so my passion is to build shepherds, and then shepherds develop more shepherds. And next thing you know, there's lives being changed across our community on a daily basis because the shepherd of the talents are at work. And that's one of the privileges and honors that I get, is I get to change people's lives every day with what we do. And I want to train that with other people. So the answer to your question is, own the responsibility that you have, because everybody has people they're responsible for, to shepherd the talent.
Well, it certainly has been a joy sitting here with you and hearing your story, right? And sharing with the community your journey and the business and the tools that you provide back to the community. So thank you for your time today. And I enjoy our relationship and look forward to continually working with you. So
I appreciate you very much.
awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.